Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and get started. I think most of the media made it here so far. I thank you all for coming and taking the opportunity to receive this update. We want to provide a one-stop shop here where we have several of our elected officials here to provide updated information and to answer questions. We have the cities represented, the health department, the school district, and the sheriff's department, and of course the Board of County Commissioners. So we'll walk through that lineup one at a time. At the end of that, our Public Safety Director, Brad Baker, will wrap up, and then between he and I, we will answer questions you may have unless it's to a specific agency, and then we would ask that agency to come up and respond to your questions. So, Chairman Salter.
Thank you, Dan. Before I get prepared with my notes here, I want to thank everybody. Thank all the constitutional officers. Thank all of our staff. Y'all are doing a great job. We're going through some extremely difficult times. We've gone through disasters before. We recovered from it. This is different. We're going to recover from this, and we're going to move forward in the future. But I want to thank everybody for all your hard work. I have some prepared notes to speak from. Santa Rosa County is a resilient county, and we will continue to conduct county business at the best of our abilities during this time. We're making strides to bring more of our programs online quickly to limit face-to-face interactions for the protections of both our residents and our employees. We will have one commissioner meeting next week on Thursday, March the 26th at 9 a.m. here. A public input form is available on our website for input or comment on individual agenda items and for our residents to bring forward issues they would like to be heard at the public forum. This single meeting format with all business being completed at regular meetings on Thursday will be continued through April. One meeting going all the way through April. All publicly permitted events in the next 8 weeks have been canceled. All updates are posted on our website and shared on our social media so you can stay informed. I cannot state the importance of this next statement. Please follow the guidelines by the CDC and our Florida Department of Health to keep you and your family safe. We will get through this together. In closing, I want to say, please take personal responsibility, take care of yourself, follow the guidelines, listen to the facts. Don't get caught up in rumors, innuendos. Social media can go crazy sometimes. So please listen to the facts, adhere to those facts, and take personal responsibility. Here again, we're here to serve our citizens and do whatever it takes to keep them safe during this time. This time, I'm going to recognize Ms. Sandy Park O'Hara. We'll now give you more information on everything that's going on with her. She's a very busy.
We have a lot of viewers who want to know if the beaches are closed, and that seems to be the biggest issue right now. Would you mind doing that so they can get back to their jobs?
We're going to take questions at the end of the press conference.
Okay.
Thank you. Good question. We'll address that.
Sandy.
Thank you, Commissioner Salter. I am Sandy Park O'Hara from the Florida Department of Health in Santa Rosa County, and I'm just going to give you some updated stats. I know we're going to have a Q&A at the end of our presentation, so I'm going to save a lot of that information for that time period. Confirmed cases in Florida residents right now, 360. Confirmed by the Department of Health labs, 209, and tested by private labs, 151. Some characteristics of our Florida resident cases. There are Florida residents who are isolated outside of the state, and at that time there's 6, and we have had 8 deaths in the state of Florida. We also have non-Florida cases who are here in our state with us, confirmed 24, and tested by private labs are 6. So total 390 cases in the state of Florida. Of those 390 cases, 112 are related to travel. 61 are related to a confirmed case. Travel and contact with a confirmed case are 77, and unknown and still under investigation, there's 140. Last night, we were informed of another positive case in our county. This is of a 48-year-old male patient who did have international travel, and that's all the demographic information that we will be able to give you. So at this point, we have one active case in our county. It is not community spread. It is from an international travel. So I'm going to stop, and then we'll take questions at the end.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim Rossick, Superintendent of Schools in Santa Rosa County, and just to bring you a lengthy update on behalf of the Santa Rosa County School System. And much of this detail, all of this detail, are in some printed notes to my left that you may obtain as you leave, and I'll certainly be open for questions. The school system certainly continues to work to accommodate the needs of students. Our highest priority will be and will always be the safety and welfare of our students and our employees. We continue to follow the guidance of the Center for Disease Control, Florida, and local health department, and of course, the Department of Education. A few very important pieces of information that haven't been sent out yet. We had scheduled an emergency meeting for March 25th board meeting. That meeting has been canceled. Our resources currently are putting together a student information learning system, and our staff is dedicated to that work right now. Our April 9th board meeting will be a virtual meeting. We'll be informing the public how that will be attended and how you may gain input. At the direction of the Commissioner of Education and Department of Education, students will not report to school until April 15th. This date changes. We will alert parents through normal modes of communication, which includes a press release, telephonic, and through social media contact. During the week of the 23rd through the 30th is an important week for us. We will bring in only essential personnel. They will return to conduct mission essential business and educational functions. This will focus on continued development of instructional plan and platform for students through a distance learning platform. The essential functions that this group will do will, of course, continue to pay our employees as we move forward through the month. Teachers and educational support personnel will report March 30th. Building level administrators may ask certain individuals to come in during the week of 23rd through the 30th to develop and deliver our distance learning platform. As you're aware, we have already begun feeding students across Santa Rosa County in specific locations across the county. We are petitioning at present the federal and state governments for flexibility to expand our services into additional areas of our county. As these are approved, we will notice these locations on our homepage and notify schools in that local area. During spring break, and will continue, schools have been deep cleaned, disinfected, and fogged in an effort to make certain that they are clean. These cleaning measures will continue as long as is needed to produce a healthy environment. All Santa Rosa County schools, regardless, are required by the legislature to meet a minimum number of hours. I've received multiple inquiries about makeup days. I'll share this information. We have currently enough instructional minutes to satisfy about 5 days of missed school. At present, days missed beyond this time will be required to be made up unless the Department of Education approves a waiver of those instructional hours, which we will, of course, try to secure. This will occur at the end of the event, not during, whenever that may be. I want to speak specifically to moms and dads and students. Beginning March 30th, teachers will begin to prepare for and engage in a distance learning platform to serve the needs of our students. As we have been challenged by the Department of Education, and it is the right thing to do, we will begin to build that. On the screen to my right, your left, is just a small logo. Inside that logo is a wealth of information that I want to speak to you about. It is on our homepage and is the launch of our distance learning support mechanism for students, parents, and even the community. This location will be added to as we move through this event. Resources will be placed on it. Teachers, administrators, and educational support individuals will be trained on educating students through this medium. It is a different medium. We're moving the classroom into a different realm. Additionally, this repository of resources for parents and guardians, students, and community members will assist in providing educational resources for our students as we manage both the digital and the non-digital world. We are cognizant that some of our students do not have digital access or internet access, and we're building platforms to accommodate their needs. Our desire is to turn this time teachers work with students through a telephone or email or any other means to support their learning. Beginning March 30th or by March 30th, materials will be distributed to students, and students will be contacted on how to access distance learning resources. If your child has not been contacted by midweek of the 30th, we ask that you contact your local school. Special attention will be given to students who need support relative to their needs, and the Department of Education has provided some flexibility for the remainder of this school year to provide alternate resources for students with disabilities or students who have a 504. We will advance that work as we go through this event. At kindergarten through 5th grade, this is where it kind of separates, so we need to listen carefully. Where distance learning is most difficult, teachers will develop learning materials for students, and this may be distributed through the local school site, or we most likely will deliver these through our bus transportation system to specific sites for students at home. These procedures will be forthcoming, and you can go to our webpage, and the notice of it to my left, which disappeared, but that's okay. It'll still be there, all right? There is also an email that you can ask questions about and seek more information. It's doc@santarosa.k12.fl.us. One of my staff or I will respond to that if need be. To be clear, this is not a perfect plan to educate students. I don't have a perfect plan. I feel very confident that our teachers are amazing educators, but educating 30,000 students in an alternate medium is a challenging effort at least, and will most likely change as we walk through this body of work. I ask parents to be patient and students to be patient as we work through it. Over the past week, I've spoken to dozens, maybe even 100 teachers. They're compassionate souls who desperately need to see your child. They desperately need to speak to them. They desperately need to be the teacher that they are. And they're walking through this work very carefully and looking how they can make sure they meet the needs of students. Their greatest concern is the welfare of their child and their students. They're strong in character, and they will work diligently through whatever mode necessary to make sure they meet the needs of the parent. They're anxious to return to school, and they want to because they are teachers. I've always stated the success of Santa Rosa County Schools relies in the support we receive from our parents, from our community. And given this, I'm very confident students will be well served. This is what makes our schools successful. I leave with this note: this advisory is current as of right now, and things change daily, even by the minute. I wrote this partway through yesterday and then had a conference call last night that it changed from then. So be patient with us as the material changes. Be patient with our state leadership as they guide us in direction. And thank you for your work.
Good afternoon. I'm Cherry Fitch and Mayor of Gulf Breeze. This morning at 9 o'clock, our city declared a state of an emergency. We also have been working daily and hourly at times with Santa Rosa County using our own pandemic plan that we actually even revised a little last October, and putting it and using it in conjunction with theirs. We've had a lot of open communication, and that's been very valuable to us. Gulf Breeze is directly affected by tourism, and we've been working with Escambia County on a solution to this time of year and the number of tourists that we have right now. We are pleased that this afternoon at 12, it was announced that the hotels on Pensacola Beach will be going to 50% occupancy, just as the restaurants are at this time. And we feel like that will be an assistance to us not only in traffic, but also in supplies. Yesterday, we reconvened our IDR, which is our Interfaith Disaster Resource Team. We formed that after Ivan and haven't needed it since, but we do feel like with everything that's going on today and as fluid as this situation is, it was important for us to have a cohesive plan through many organizations. This group is made up of the churches in our community, the city, the hospital, and the school system. So we had a giant conference call yesterday and focused on two things. One is we were concerned about our free and reduced students and families not having access to food or the ability to purchase. So we set up a plan and designed that there will be a weekly food supply available for them to pick up. Our other concern yesterday that we addressed was vulnerable citizens and them getting out from their homes to where they needed to be. And so we've worked out a plan that we can find out who they are and then also do a delivery service that will include them and help them as they need it. During this time, we all want to practice our social distance, and we've certainly encouraged all of our citizens to do that. But we also would like to say it's a great time to get out in the fresh air, keeping your social distance. But with the trails, the weather we have, and the facilities that are still open, some of our fields, we'd like to encourage everybody to, as an opportunity to de-stress, to maybe take advantage of some of the good things that we can still focus on right now as well. So in closing, the safety of our citizens and our employees will always come first with us and always guide our decisions. And we appreciate the fact that we have such good communication, not only with the county, but also the state. Thank you very much.
I'm Randy Jorgensen. I do work for the City of Milton as its manager. We're currently operating under the pandemic provisions of our emergency management plan. It dictates how staff is responding to the challenge that we all face. I do want to recognize the efforts of Santa Rosa County and the Scott County school system. We work in stereo to what they do, and they're our partners each and every day. Meetings for the City of Milton have been limited. Only the council is meeting at this time. All advisory body meetings have been canceled. There may be an event that comes up that requires one to meet, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We had a committee of the whole meeting, which is essentially a council meeting scheduled for today. That has been canceled. The next meeting that's scheduled is for April 6th. It's a executive committee meeting. That meeting too may be canceled, and we'll just dispatch with essential functions on the 14th of April. Our public facilities are essentially shut down with the exception of City Hall and access to utility payments and a lobby in the police department. Otherwise, most of our facilities have been closed. Our parks remain open, and they will remain open until such time as 10 or more people start to congregate there, and do that on a continuing basis. We hope that the public heeds the warnings that they've been given, and we won't have to act to limit access to even those outside recreational activities that we all enjoy. We have concerns for our businesses, restaurants, bars, their employees, and how they're going to fare as they try to work through this. We set up a website for those people to access information on available assistance. You can get there through our webpage or our Facebook page. Simply query City of Milton, Florida. It'll take you to that location. This is a fluid event. It's spread in part by fluids, but it is a fluid event, and it changes constantly. keeping up with this environment is not easy. We'll do just that. We will keep up, and we will keep you informed. And we hope, as has already been said here, that you listen to the advice and counsel of the Department of Health, of the CDC. You read the information that you can find and heed the warnings. Practice the social distancing. If you don't have to go somewhere, don't go. It is one of those times where your home is your castle, and enjoy it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Assistant Chief Deputy Shane Tucker of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of Sheriff Bob Johnson. Sheriff Johnson wants me to assure each one of our citizens that our law enforcement operations and operations in Santa Rosa County, although they are slightly curtailed and affected because of this issue, they remain strong and intact. Safety and security of the citizens of this county remains and will remain job number one. And as already been mentioned a couple of times, I don't want to belabor the point, but this is a highly fluid and volatile situation. It doesn't change by the day, it changes by the hour, if not the minute. So certainly we have had to see some slight adjustments in the way that we conduct our normal day-to-day operations, but again, I want to assure you that the safety and security of Santa Rosa County remains in good hands with the men and women of Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office, and as things change, we will certainly provide further updated information. At this time, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Brad Baker.
Good afternoon, Brad Baker, Santa Rosa County Public Safety Director. Like Commissioner Salter, I also have my notes. So first of all, we did enact a local state of emergency. The chairman signed that today. Our EOC is at a level 2 or a partial activation. We have activated ESF's 8, which is health and medical, 18, which is our business and industry, and 14, which is our public information and rumor control. ESF 8 is there so that we can continue to coordinate with our healthcare facilities and their need for PPE or personal protective equipment, which is a very rare and sought after commodity right now. We are activating, as I said, ESF 18 in conjunction with the Economic Development Office, and this is to provide guidance and coordinate issues with Santa Rosa County's business community in all phases of emergency management. We have an email for them, and it is esf18@santarosa.fl.gov. Also have created santarosaready.com, and this is going to serve as a clearinghouse for all business needs, including information on how to apply for bridge loans. Even if you have not been impacted financially by COVID-19, we're encouraging all business owners in Santa Rosa County to complete the surveys on santarosaready.com and register with the SBDC. So I'm going to kind of recap. As several have said, this is going to provide a challenging time for the government as well as the citizens. As everybody has said, we are providing government functions to the best of our ability while protecting our employees and the citizens. So we just ask you to stay calm, don't panic. A pandemic, so do your part. So now we're going to open it up to the media for questions, and I'm going to bring County Administrator.
I'm here to answer any questions you might have, but I will take a stab, and if I need to bring in the expert, I will.
Are you closing the beaches?
Santa Rosa County is not closing the beaches at this point. Follow the guidance that's been put out from the White House, from the Centers for Disease Control, to avoid discretionary travel. Don't travel here to come to the beaches, to avoid social gatherings of more than 10. And we encourage people to maintain an appropriate distance. What our beach safety director is using, and his lifeguards are using, is a 10 and 10 rule, 10 people, 10 feet. And if people that are enjoying our beautiful beaches can follow those guidelines and those recommendations, we should be able to keep our beaches open. If we're not able to follow those guidelines, then we're going to be forced to make a different decision. And that's, as has been covered, a very fluid situation. We're in touch with our beach safety director, our tourism development director, with Dan Brown, the superintendent at Gulf Islands National Seashore, and with Escambia County. That is one island and one beach, and I expect that we will address it in a coordinated manner.
How are you enforcing the 10 by 10 rule? Is the sheriff's office down there? Are the lifeguards patrolling people? How is it enforced?
The lifeguards are out patrolling and encouraging people to follow those directions. The sheriff has dispatched some additional resources down there, with school resource officers not being utilized at schools right now. And that's, we're encouraging people to follow those rules and monitoring that situation.
The water system took action to protect their employees. They closed down the lobby. They're providing service only through the drive-through. What plans does the Santa Rosa County Board of County Commissioners, I know that all the constitutional offices may follow a different suit, but what is your plan to protect your employees?
We have taken steps to try and minimize those public interactions. We are using technology to the maximum extent we can. We've rolled out some new permitting software that will allow sub-permits to be issued online electronically without having to come into the office. We are in the development services looking at drop-off of plans as opposed to an exchange in plans. Libraries are an issue that we are considering now. I expect that we'll be modifying some of those service deliveries over the next several days. We are not going to close facilities, but we are going to try and limit those gatherings of more than 10 and to protect our employees and our citizens while still being able to provide a service. We're looking at remote work as an option for some of our workforce. That obviously doesn't apply to the folks that need to be out there patching potholes. So we're looking at all available resources and ways to mitigate the spread of this pandemic.
And one of the other questions at the forefront is, will Santa Rosa students return back to school on April 15th? And what is the plan to notify parents if they will not, if they will be using virtual schools only? So if Superintendent Rosa might be able to address that, please.
At the current time, students will return on the 15th of April. We, of course, notified parents of that this week and will continue to keep them updated. If that date changes, we certainly will re-notify them of any alternate dates.
Mr. Rosa, while you're up there, what can parents do while they're helping their children learn at home?
You know, I want to have another hour and a half talk, if y'all could. There's so much here that we need to tell parents, but I would right now just tell them that they need to be safe and secure. Our students are just like adults. They're concerned, and make sure that their social and emotional needs are taken care of right now. That's at the heart of what we do anyway during a normal school day, is make sure those needs are taken care of. And I would add to that, on any given day, math and science and social sciences, that's important, but developing great people and great individuals to meet the needs of our society is an important piece. Take this time, I would challenge parents, take this time to not only orient yourself to the web page that we've had. Those resources will begin popping up here in a few days, probably next week, but orient yourself to that. We will provide resources. We're not going to teach them how to teach, but we are going to give them resources that we use daily and that will help them expedite some great learning. But I think the bigger lesson here is this is a perseverance lesson. This is a lesson of patience that we can teach our children. We can teach our adults too. I know of some younger adults who have never met. I think the nearest to it is a hurricane that most of us have been through, and we remember how difficult that was. Even with an end in sight, I think that's what our students are feeling. That's what certainly our employers are feeling, and you are as well. There is really, at this point, we don't know when this is final. So teaching them to be good people, teaching them to serve others, teaching them to make sure they take care of needs of others, and be patient and have some perseverance is a great life lesson that we can use during this time frame.
Can the high school seniors expect to have a graduation ceremony?
I don't have any information regarding that at this time. I'm planning, I shared with someone here a couple days, maybe a week, I don't know. What day is it, all right? Sounded so horrible, but anyway, I planned 2 weeks at a time and then went to 2 days. I'm down to about 2 hours. So right now, we are working through April the 15th, and that's the direction that the Commissioner of Education has given to us. They, of course, are working closely with the CDC. That really is driving our work. We want to protect students, protect employees, and we, of course, are following the local advisories from our local health department. I just don't want to go there yet until I'm given some good, clear guidance about what that looks like. But thank you for that question. I know that is near and dear to their hearts of what a senior has worked for 13 years to achieve. We want to celebrate with them desperately, and we will find a way to do that, if not now, down the road.
Will teachers still be paid? Will they still have jobs at the end of this?
Yes, I made in my notes that we are currently paying teachers, right.
Superintendent Rosa.
Yes, ma'am.
The meal plan, the free meal plans, will
Yes.
start being distributed to students on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The busing to and from that, can you give us any information on that, or will it be Friday still before?
It's probably going to be Friday before that work comes out. We're kind of blending some departments, some operational departments with transportation and food service. We'll have some opportunities for parents to pick up those meals in a way at the school, but also we're looking at delivering them to bus stops and making sure parents have that access as well. So we're really walking through that very carefully and making sure that we have a good plan before we push that out. To that point, though, it's really important, that spot there, of course, on our homepage will give great direction about when, how, and where to pick up those meals. And that's important to us. We want to make sure that students have that ability to get a good meal or 2 meals a day.
So there's a portal on your school district homepage that parents can access with all the latest information?
It will be, yes.
And will that be active?
It's active now, it'll just be added to and supplemented as we go through. Yes?
I have a question actually about community spread, so it might be a Brad or a Sandy question.
I know nothing about community spread. Thank you.
My question is about community spread. The county has continuously said there's no community spread here. We only have the one confirmed case right now, and of course we had the confirmed case and the death a couple of weeks ago. But so many people have been telling us, at least the News Journal, that they haven't been able to get tested. And up until this past Monday, when Sacred Heart opened their drive-through testing clinic, that has been the only time that people have been able to really start getting tested. So my question is, do you think that community spread could be happening and we just don't know because there hasn't been adequate testing? And as a follow-up, when do you think we might start seeing better testing for Santa Rosa County residents?
So a couple of things you said there. Community spread is when the community at large has the COVID-19. We are not there yet. The more you test, probably the more you will find. So at this point, there's a difference between test kits and specimen collection kits. So we have plenty of specimen collection kits, but we have to make sure that the people that need the test, that are high priority, and that meet the criteria for testing get those specimen collections. Test kits are run by the lab. And so we do have, our governor was able to procure about 650,000 additional test kits for labs, and those are for CLIA licensed labs. Some of those are hospitals, some of those are private partners. So those have increased, and that's why you're seeing additional cases and additional testing at those lab facilities. So specimen collection sites are coming up, but we have to first ensure that those who are at high risk, that we're able to get those tests and collections for those high-risk patients. So when we're talking about specific high-risk patients, I can give you a list of the screening criteria for that. Some people who are calling both the Sacred Heart and Community Health Center lines for that testing, you still have to meet criteria. Just because you want to test doesn't mean that you should be screened. Those are going through healthcare providers. But our screening criteria for those who are at high risk who will get a test are persons who have had a close contact with an active COVID case, persons who are hospitalized with an acute lower respiratory case that they can't find any other reason why they might be sick, people who have a history of travel from an affected geographic area, people who have a history of international travel, people 65 and older who have chronic health conditions, and people who are immunocompromised. Those are our high-risk people right now, and we have to focus our screening and our specimen collections on those people to ensure that they get tested first.
Karen Chapman with the Okaloosa Department of Health spoke with the Okaloosa commissioners this morning, and she outlined for them what sounded like a pretty dire circumstance in terms of allowing visitors to continue to come to the beach. She said that one of the problems with that is that people are coming to the beach from affected areas, areas that have community spread, areas where there are a significant number of cases. They're coming here, and that could bring it here to our county and our area and create community spread. In that vein, do you think that it is a wise decision to keep the beaches open?
I think with the Board of County Commissioners mitigation strategies, that's something that will be reviewed frequently, and if people will help, they can enjoy the beaches. But if people don't do their part, and we have large clusters and mass gatherings, which we've been asked not to do, then that decision will probably change. Yes, sir.
This is for you or maybe somebody with the county, but we're getting contact from citizens who are concerned. They work in service jobs such as cashiers, and their employers are not allowing them to wear any kind of protective gear out of fear of scaring the public. Is there any advice you can give to them to help mitigate their risk, or to their employers that maybe they should be allowed to do that if they want to?
I would say each individual business probably needs to make that decision and best practices for their business. But certainly frequent washing of hands is certainly pertinent to all businesses.
I assume things like this, like the beach closures and county measures, is this being evaluated on a day-to-day?
I would say even more frequent than that. And that's what I would just close with. I mean, you've heard all of the speakers say this is a dynamic situation. It's evolving and changing rapidly. We went from a week ago, the CDC saying mass gatherings of 1,000 should be stopped or eliminated or canceled, to now we're talking about 10 people in less than a week. So it's a very dynamic situation, one that is constantly being evaluated. I would ask, to stay up to date, get plugged in with the county, with social media, with our PIO's office, with the social media platforms where we are posting information, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and stay connected. And if you have a question, you can always call or email, and someone is going to get back to you. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate the questions, and hopefully we answered some for you all. Thank you.